Welcome back to Americade, guys. Today we are on the Kawasaki Vulcan S. If you've been around my channel from the beginning, this was my first motorcycle. I eventually did trade it away for an Indian Chief, and today we are back on this bike for a test ride to see what is new. So one thing this bike has that mine did not is a gear indicator. That's really nice. Mine did not have that. But as a beginner rider, that was probably good for me. It taught me to keep track of where I was in the gear range. If you guys have been around my channel, you know there's certain criteria by which I judge these motorcycles. The first of which is going to be comfort. If a bike's not comfortable, you're not going to want to ride it. What attracted me initially to the Vulcan S when I first bought it, and why I still like it, is the riding position. The bars are very comfortable. There's good pullback to them, and the forward controls gives you a nice relaxed riding position. Now, riding position is the first component of comfort. For that, I give this bike a 10 out of 10. Nice pullback, good controls, really cushy large pegs, really great. The seat, however, is another matter. Comfort is also related to the seat, and the stock seat is, well, not great. It was one of the main reasons that I didn't enjoy my Vulcan S as much as I should have. And at the time, I was a brand new motorcyclist, and I didn't know much about the custom seat market and what could be done to fix that. Knowing what I know now, I would absolutely put a custom Corbin seat on the Kawasaki Vulcan S if you were considering purchasing this motorcycle. The stock seat will get you there if you're doing about 40 to 50 miles. Anything longer than an hour ride, and your butt is not going to be very comfortable. Just the design of the seat was not great, and I can already tell you it's the exact same one I had on my 2015. They have not improved it. So, that being said, riding position, great. Seat, not so much. So, out of the gate, we'll give comfort a solid, I'd say 7.5 out of 10. The reason we're docking at those points is because of the seat only. Now let's talk about power. We're about to head out on the highway here. I'm sorry for the unsightly view on the bike up there in front of me. Not sure what this guy is doing, but he is lagging behind the group. So we're in 5th gear doing about 77. It does have 6 gears, plenty of power for the highway. As far as can't tell what this guy is doing here. Change of formation. These people are not riding staggered the way they're supposed to be. Ay, ay, ay. Problem with group rides, I understand the reason from the purpose of the manufacturers, but when you have idiots who don't know how to ride in a group and they don't understand how to stay in a stagger formation, it never goes well. Anyway, lots of power here for the highway. We've got a whole nother gear left over. When we talk about the engine in here, this is the same 650 engine that is in the Ninja. However, it's tuned a little bit differently. It's very beginner friendly, but with plenty of power for you to grow into and take out on the highway and take for long sporty rips on the back roads and up on the mountain twisties. Liquid cooled engine gives this bike plenty of power. However, the one thing I will say is the exhaust is wussy. I always had half a mind to take a drill and just drill some extra holes in my exhaust. And to be honest, that's probably what I would do if I bought this again, if I didn't want to fork over the money for an aftermarket exhaust immediately. There are lots of cheap options for aftermarket exhaust for the Vulcan S, so if you want to make this bike sound more aggressive, you can certainly do so. For power, we've got essentially a Ninja engine in here. It's a bulletproof, proven engine, low maintenance. I never did any maintenance on mine, and it was just no problem. Easy to take care of. Never had dirty oil. Air filter always stayed fairly clean. It was just a great bike. So, power, performance, we're going to give it a 9 out of 10 for a sport cruiser. A little different than a normal cruiser, but a sport cruiser. So this is the Kawasaki Vulcan S. Walk around is pretty simple. Solo seat is currently installed. Liquid cooled Ninja 650 essentially engine. Single headlamp with fork mounted turn signals. We do have ABS on the Vulcan S, which is a very nice feature to have, especially for beginner riders. There's that big old exhaust down there that doesn't put out much noise. I'd drill a few holes in that, if you know what I mean, if you want to get a little more noise out of this sucker. Nice looking clean front end. They have a nice shroud around the radiator. It makes it look nice and clean. You do have an adjustable rear shock, and you have good mounting points in the rear for saddlebags. That's what I did to mine. I put Viking saddlebags on it. You also have a solo rear rack that's available from Kawasaki, or you can put a 2-up seat on there as well. Another accessory that I know they make for this is a accessory port, so you can plug 12 volt in up here if you want to have a phone mount and charge your phone. And then there are lots of aftermarket options to do a fender eliminator kit. Get rid of this ugly honking piece of plastic in the back. Chain driven, not a belt on here, so you will have to do a little bit of chain maintenance. Other than that, that's the Vulcan S. She's a great bike, very economical. I often got 50 miles per gallon with mine. It was great for commuting. All right, now we're getting into the twisties. We're going to talk about the handling. Let's drop a gear here. This bike is very fun to lean over. I do remember that. I remember the first time I scraped peg on a motorcycle. It was on the Vulcan S. It's a very, very fun bike to ride and carve with in the twisties. I took this up into the North Hills of Tennessee, western edge of North Carolina many times when I owned it. It's got decent lean. You've got forward pegs, and yeah, honestly, no problems there. It's not as high on the pegs as a Ninja, obviously. It's not a sport bike, it's a sport cruiser, so your lean angle isn't going to be quite as great. You're not going to be dragging knee with this thing. Yeah, buddy, we see your butt up there. Don't bother trying to pull the shirt down now. So the handling is great. It's very flickable. It's very nimble. They've asked us not to do too much, you know, swerving back and forth in the lanes. They don't want that sort of thing on the group ride. So out of respect for their group ride policies and not wanting to get kicked off the ride, I'm not going to do my normal pothole swerve maneuver and test the flickability. I can tell you, having owned one of these, that's absolutely fine. The bike is very lightweight and flickable. Counter steering's easy. We're talking fingertip steering here, just very, very light in the curves. One finger press, it leans right on over. Even with the forward controls and the more upright riding position, you still feel very, very much in control of this motorcycle in the curves. It's an aggressive carver. I would liken it to the Indian Scouts or the Harley Sportster S. The other Sportsters in Harley's lineup are more cruiser. The Sportster S is a sport cruiser, as well as the Scout, probably the new Scout 101s. I would put those in the sport cruiser market as well. So that would be its main competition. And as far as the handling goes, it's got the same great handling characteristics as those bikes. It is certainly lighter than them. I will give it that key advantage there. So for handling, we'll give it a solid 8 out of 10. This guy has no idea how to keep up with a group ride. As far as styling is concerned, you guys saw the look of the bike, and I have lots of Vulcan S videos back on my channel if you want to see it in a different paint job. But the Vulcan S is a fairly good looking bike. I remember mine having maybe another 1 or 2 exposed wires up front. They've cleaned it up a bit, getting these wires directly attached to the handlebars. I wish they would move to internal wiring like Indian and Harley have on their newer bikes. Just getting those wires inside the handlebars would go a long way to enhancing the overall look in the front. I hate it when they just strap wires onto the handlebars. It doesn't look great. So that's something that all manufacturers could improve on, and Kawasaki is no exception there. When it comes to style, there are plenty of accessories available directly from Kawasaki and as aftermarket solutions. I put a set of Viking saddlebags on mine, which was great for commuting when I was in grad school. I was able to carry books, laptop, tablet, all that kind of good stuff in there. As far as seating is concerned, this bike is set up currently for the solo rider, and that's what I had. I had the solo seat on mine, but you can get a 2-up seat. Again, the Kawasaki seat is quite terrible. So personally, I would tell you guys that you need to get a custom seat. I would go for a custom Corbin. They make a nice Kawasaki Vulcan S 2-up seat that I have seen. that would be my recommendation if you're going for 2-up or for solo riding. Saddlemen is my favorite aftermarket seat, but I don't think they make one for the Vulcan S. At least they didn't at the time. So that's something you guys could check out as well. Kawasaki also makes a pretty cool looking solo luggage rack that you could put on here if you had the solo seat installed. There's also accessory ports like charging ports and things available. What are these guys doing up? I have no idea what these guys are doing. We got one guy in one lane, one in another. I have no clue what's going on up here. We lost formation. We really lost formation. Wish I could have gone out on a solo ride and had more time to really show you guys this bike. Group rides are just a disaster sometimes when you get people who have no idea how to ride in them. It's alright, we all got to learn somewhere, but it doesn't lend itself to the best riding experience. Thankfully, I've owned this bike and I have experience, so I can inform you guys more about it. If you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful in any way, please hit that thumbs up button. If you're new here and you think I've earned it, please subscribe to the channel. It's the big red button. Click the bell icon next to it. That'll give you guys notifications when there are new videos to watch right here on Motoblade. I've got lots of new videos coming out this week from Americade. We've done about 15 test rides so far. Harley, Indian, Honda, now Kawasaki. We got a lot more content to come, so make sure you guys stay tuned for all that. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, be careful out there. Ride safe, ride on. I'll catch you on the next video. Deuces.